1.6 million children are now affected by the two-child benefit cap as Starmer faces pressure to scrap it. We're going to read into this more from Sky News, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Sky News with the headline that 1.6 million children are now being affected by the two-child benefit cap as Starmer faces pressure to scrap it. Charities and MPs warn larger families will fall below the poverty line unless the government acts. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. So we know that it was not something that was included in the Labour manifesto, the plan to scrap the two-child benefit cap. We know other manifestos, others had stated, other political parties had stated that they would get rid of it. So why is he keeping this? There has to be a reason behind this. Now, for anyone who's saying that this is because of money, or that the government cannot afford it, is lying to themselves. You are literally lying to themselves, because there are so many people so many families who are worse off because of this two-child benefit cap. This would relieve a huge amount of pressure to hundreds of thousands of families up and down the UK, getting rid of this two-child benefit cap. And eventually what will happen is by getting rid of this two-child benefit cap, what you're also doing is you're also going to, these people who obviously need that money from the removal of that two-child benefit cap, having it removed, is then people will end up, because they need things, they'll be able to spend it back into the economy. So essentially, in the way, the government gets some of that money back anyway. So it's not, and obviously it helps get people back on their feet. So what is the angle? What is the reason why Keir Starmer is holding it? Well, we know that many of the Labour loyalists are really having a hard time defending this, and many people are pressuring. We know there's pressure from within the Labour government. There are pressure within his inner circle and others to scrap it. There is obviously talk that they will scrap it down. There is much talk of them scrapping it down the road. The argument is obviously, why not now? Why not get rid of it now? And this is the issue that I cannot get my head around. I've listened to quite a few different people to try and get my head around this, and they've not been very clear about the reasons for keeping it either. But maybe some of you in the comments might have reasons why we should keep it. But I personally think, excuse me, I personally think it needs to go. For the sake of many children out there. We got too many people in poverty, in destitute poverty. And people want people always complain about too many immigrants, and they want more so-called British jobs for British workers. Well, we're not going to have more British jobs for British workers if we're going to be handicapping them for the future, which is what this two-child benefit cap is. So just let that fizzle in your mind when you think about if you're somebody who hates immigration but is in favour of a two-child benefit cap. So a total of 1.6 million children are now affected by the two-child benefit cap as the Labour government faces pressure to lift it. The Conservative government introduced a cap which prevents the parents from claiming child tax credit or universal credit for more than 2 children from those born after April 2017. It means that families cannot claim about £3,200 a year per extra child, the Resolution Foundation has said. Economist at the organisation, Lalitha Try, said there was little evidence that policy had achieved its aims of boosting employment. There was clear evidence of financial loss for families. Unless the policy is abolished, the majority of children in large families will fall behind the poverty line by the end of Parliament. And she added, any new child poverty strategy should find the funds to remove it. Now, I have seen one or two suggestions that some people have said that rather than remove the two-child benefit cap, you increase it to either 4 or 6 child benefit cap, which some people have said. I have to sit on the fence on that one, because you're still capping families from having children. I mean, we want more British workers. We want more British people. Do we not? I mean, do we really want to suppress our own our own people from being able to have children. So there's a part of me is just like, okay, you want to give, you want the most average families have 2 kids, yeah, don't they? Most families, I would say, have average around 2 kids. I just think the cap is unfair. I just think the cap is unfair on parents and families. I just don't feel that it's right. I can understand there are some arguments that some people are saying about increasing it to 4 children or 6 children cap. I can understand the arguments for it, but I just feel there's a sense that it just doesn't feel fair to me in any way, shape, to me. Yes, people will argue in the comments that people should not have more kids if they cannot afford them. That's a very fair assessment, very fair assumption. I also understand the point that people should not be completely living off the state. Again, another understanding. I understand some people like that. Understand that as well. So I can understand those arguments as well. But there are some extreme circumstances where I think there are some extreme circumstances where I think there is the need for the removal of this cap as well. The latest government statistics show a total of 1.6 million children in April were affected by the cap. I did read all this, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Apologies. Of those 1.6 million, 1.3 were in households claiming universal credit, who are on a low or no income, and £270,000 were claiming child tax credit, which were available to everyone. So we have a situation where 1.3 million people are claiming universal credit. Now, let's be very clear here. We have to. A good chunk of this is obviously tied into our NHS situation at the moment. For our national healthcare situation, we have to remember that we have a broken NHS at the moment, and we need to obviously clear the backlogs so that people are able to get the treatment that they need. So once people are able to get healthy, they can get back to work again. That's a really important. That's one of many factors in there. Does immigration play a factor into some of this? Yes, but is it a big factor? No, I don't agree that it's the main cause, which some people scream and shout in the comments saying that it is. It's not. Really is not. It's a small factor. It's not the big factor. It's just you peddling and listening to the right wing and all that kind of stuff without doing any research into it, if I'm honest. But it does play a small factor, but it's not the core factor into many people claiming universal credit. There's also obviously when we're saying about the NHS, there's obviously about the mental aspect of it. There could be people with mental health issues. What are we doing to help these people, help them get back on their feet? What are we also doing about those with disabilities that can be able to work, and what kind of work that we can that the job centre and the DWP can provide for them? So all these things play into that as well. So I think that's important to understand. I'm sure one or two other comments will add to it. The number of households affected has risen from 71,000 in April 2017 to 450,000 this April. So Keir Starmer has previously said the cap should be scrapped, but U-turned last year saying he would not axe it if Labour won power due to the state of finances that they have inherited. Again, this is BS. He can scrap it. The funds are there. He's just choosing not to, guys. He has faced pressure to scrap the cap from within his party, including the former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, who said it is condemned children to poverty. Former Conservative Home Secretary Suella Braverman surprised many when she came out in opposition of the policy. And Labour MP Kim Johnson is now pushing Sir Keir to include scrapping the cap in next week's King's speech. I do not expect it to be announced in the King's speech, so it's entirely possible some of you guys may hear this after the King's speech. I do not expect it to be introduced there. If it does, I will be quite surprised. Ms Johnson told Sky News, in my constituency in Liverpool, Riverside, is the most deprived in its country. Nearly half of the children in my constituency are now living in poverty. The families I represent cannot wait any longer. Labour has a huge task to undo 14 years of Tory decay, and we have to make difficult decisions about what to prioritise. But I would like to see the lifting of the two-child benefit cap a priority for the new government, as the most cost-effective and most impactful way to immediately alleviate child poverty in communities like mine across the country. This policy has broad brush support across the political spectrum, and I can think of no issue that is more urgent. The Lib Dems, SNP and Plaid Cymru has also called for the cap to be abolished. The Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall says too many children are growing up in poverty, and this is sustaining in our society. I'm 90% sure the Green Party had it in their manifesto as well. We will hold critical meetings within charities and experts next week to get this urgent work underway. Households are paid £25.60 a week for the eldest or only child, and £16.50 for a second child, but nothing for any more children. Child tax credit is available to anyone. However, if either parent earns more than £60,000 a year, they have to pay a charge. And if they earn £80,000 more for the charge, it will be the same as child benefit, so most do not claim it. Yeah, if you're earning quite a significant amount of money, it's a bit different, obviously, depending on how much income you bring into your home. So obviously that plays a factor into those child tax credits there. But I personally think the two-child benefit cap should be lifted, should be gone. I don't think any children should be allowed to be put in poverty or destitute poverty in any way, shape or form. I think we should be doing everything that we can to give the children's future the best possible way. I can understand some people if trying to make the argument of, I can understand the argument if people want to push it to 4 or to 6 child benefit cap. I can understand those points, but I just personally think that perhaps it should just completely go. I just think it's too much of a detriment. Let's get children, let's get the poorest in society. Let's get them on their feet. Let's help them out here so that once they're on their feet, they can stop relying on it. We don't want, I understand the premise of people don't wanting sitting on benefits and whatnot, but we also don't want to be killing our own people as well. So it's not rocket science to know that many people are struggling to literally surviving every single day, and we should be able to support these families, support these children, and give them the best opportunities that we can in life. And that's why I think it should go. And I'm hoping that by the time this video comes out, that maybe he will have scrapped it. I don't think he will. But I want to know what you guys honestly think about the two-child benefit cap. Do you think there are some benefits to the two-child benefit cap? Do you think there may be a case for if it's 4 children or 6 children or maybe more? There might be a case for that. Or like me, do you think it's just not worth, it should be just removed completely? I really want to know what you guys honestly think about the two-child benefit cap. Let me know your thoughts and more in the comment section down below. And if you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, we greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope to catch you all very, very soon.